Today I'll show how you can streamline new product introductions with Evolve. The Automate Evolve NPI solution can speed up your SAP product launch processes by at least 50%, and we do this by digitizing and accelerating the collection of SAP data needed to manufacture those products. Our NPI solution can be built to handle any type of launch process, from a net new finished good or line extension to a simple ingredient change or plant extension. Our NPI solution is also modular and extensible, handling many SAP data objects to enable your organization to expand its digital footprint at a pace that makes sense for you. It also supports the collection of centralized and decentralized data, complex processes, and high-volume scenarios. An operational product launch involves more than just creating materials. So a typical product launch includes 54 steps, and many of these steps require additional functional master data to be created. Our NPI solution can digitize and accelerate all of those steps to speed your time to market, whether you're making or buying the products. You can streamline complex processes like NPI through dynamic process linking, which allows you to streamline data collection across data objects, as well as handle centralized and decentralized data in one solution. Our solution offers the ability to give each person or group in the process a unique view of the web form. So this enables them to work quickly and efficiently because they only see the data they need. For example, the warehouse team probably doesn't need to see marketing data, so they only see what's relevant to their role. Here are some key data stewardship capabilities that will improve the quality of your data. Just to highlight a few, you can search for duplicates against SAP. You can easily configure required fields. You can do a live data validation against SAP, and you can configure SAP F4 lookups within the form itself. Through the use of a dashboard, you get more visibility into the process, which helps you manage your product launches more effectively. So here's an overview of the workflow for the NPI solution. Please note this is an example of what the workflow can be, and you can easily configure the workflow to meet your business process. So in this example, the project manager will define the project scope, including finished goods and plants, and the master data team will then create the shell materials. So this will be done at a global centralized level. After the shell materials have been created, the business users and master data team, including accounting and supply chain, will provide the data needed to extend the finished goods and raw materials at a decentralized level. After the materials have been extended to the appropriate plants, the BOMs will get created for each plant. Again, this is an example, so you can also include more steps like costing and pricing if needed. So before I show the demo, let's take a look at some of the solution highlights. The NPI solution supports any launch type, whether it's a new product or geographical expansion. Dynamic process linking allows us to start with the data objects needed now and expand over time. The process will start at a centralized level with a project manager, and then we'll move to a decentralized level at the plants. The workflow is driven by business logic based on new raw materials, business unit, region, priority, etc. And we'll see parallel processing and extensive data stewardship capabilities throughout the solution. All right, so now we're in the Evolve page, and I'll go ahead and launch this NPI process through the project launcher. So today for this demo, we'll go through a new product, and we'll go ahead and select the business unit and the region. And we'll go ahead and enter the project name. So for this, we'll do some guava sparkling water. And you'll notice once I hit tab, it will actually make these uppercase. So this is just some of the built-in data quality that we have, along with some required fields, as well as conditionally required fields. So let's go ahead and finish filling this out. So the project, we'll enter the value. And the brand, we'll go ahead and select the brand. So the priority, this is important. For this case, I'll leave it as standard, but if needed, you can make it a high priority or you can put it on hold. If you have it on high priority, this can actually take a different route in the workflow. And then of course on hold if the project needs to be put on hold, you can do that as well. So the project status, this is an important field that changes throughout the process. So it will automatically change as we move along. So right now it's set to new, and then you'll see it change as we go along. So the project manager can easily track the projects and which status they're in. And then with NPI, it's normal to have different stage gates. So the first stage gate is plan ready. And then there's also source ready, make ready, and delivery ready. And just like the project status, these stage gates will automatically change as we move along through the process. All right, so I'll go ahead and leave the launch date as April 17th. You can, of course, change that. And then for this demonstration, I'll just choose one plant, but note you can have as many plants as you need. And then for the finished goods, you can also create as many new products as you need, but for this, I'll just do the one new product. All right, so you can enter comments, and this will be seen throughout the process. You can also attach files. So these files can either stay within Evolve or they can go into SAP. So it's up to you where you want those files to go. So we'll go ahead and save and route. And this will actually launch that process. So at this point, we have kicked off the process as the project manager. And so now we need to add more data to that finished good, and then also have the master data team create those shell materials. So if we go to our tests, we'll see the project manager will need to add some data. So in this case, we'll go ahead and use a reference material to get some of that master data information. So we'll go ahead and choose this orange sparkling water as a reference. And this is actually doing a live lookup against SAP. So this is pulling in live data. So we have our units of measure, and we can actually validate this live against SAP. So I'll either get this success message or I'll get an error message if there's any bad data in here. And then as part of the finished good, I do need to add some components. So we'll go ahead and search for a reference here to get some of those BOM components. All right, so in this case, we're going to use the same cans, packaging, wraps, and label. So I'll go ahead and select all of these. So I'm just going to reuse these components. All right, so I've copied them down. And then I do need to add a new item for the guava. So we'll go ahead and do a guava packet. And we'll need 6 of those for this new product. And of course, you can add as many as you need, but we'll just do one additional component at this time. So we'll go ahead and continue. And if you recall, the next step is the master data team to actually create the shell materials. So we'll go ahead and launch this task. So now we're in the master data view, and as you can see, these fields are read-only, but the master data team can change the launch date and the priority if needed. So we'll go ahead and run the validation again. Again, this is a live validation against SAP just to help ensure quality data. And then we'll go ahead and create the materials into SAP through the web form. So we're just clicking this button, is creating the material in SAP. And then we'll also create this raw material in SAP. Again, this is just the shell. All right, so we'll go ahead and approve that. And as you saw, I created the materials through the web form. You can actually also create have the workflow create the workflow or the materials. So the workflow can automatically post that data into SAP after the approval is done. So you don't have to click it in the form, but it is an option again. So you can either do the form or the workflow. All right, so now we have our tasks for the raw material. This is to extend the raw material as well as the finished good. So we have a couple of parallel tasks for the finished goods. So if we look at any of these tasks, you can see all of that data for that task. You can also see the workflow history when needed. So let's go ahead and start with that raw material task. And if we open this, so right now we're in a supply chain view. And if you recall, I only created one new raw material. You can of course have multiple, so you're not limited here. And we'll go ahead and scroll through and add our data as needed. As you can see, there are a lot of defaults, which is great. This helps with quality data, and it helps the process go through faster. So the users don't need to fill out data that we already know is correct. So let's change the price. and the material price group. All right, and then for this, we're actually extending the raw materials, creating the PIR, and the source list. So this button is doing all three of those at once. And so you can easily combine those into one button. And like I said before, the workflow can also post for you after you've added the data or approved it. So down below, you can see you can add your comments if needed, and we'll go ahead and continue the process. And again, that was for the raw material. So now we're working with the finished good. So we have our supply chain view here. So with the supply chain, again, these fields above are read only, and then they'll have their purchasing and MRP information to add. So we'll go ahead and add an MRP controller, and I'll go ahead and leave the rest of the defaults here. So we'll continue that. And then of course, in parallel, the accounting team is entering their tasks. Of course, I'm wearing all the hats today. So accounting will go in and they will select the sales organization, and let's update the price. And we'll choose the material pricing group, and we'll continue that. And so far I've just shown opening and doing the tasks through the taskbar over here, but you actually have email notifications happening throughout the process. So I'll show that in a little bit. So the next step is the master data team. So they can see all the data that's been entered so far, and they'll just review it, make sure it looks good. If anything needs to be changed, they can actually send it back to supply chain, accounting, or both. So I can request a revision if needed. We'll go ahead and just extend the material. So this will create, or this will extend that material for me. Perfect. All right. So, and then this is just to show you where we are so far in the process. So if you recall, I launched the process, and then we had the raw extension, and then now we're in this approval loop. So if I go back a step, the supply chain added their data, accounting added their data, and then we exited that loop, and now we're in this master data approve and extend step. And then after this is done, we'll go ahead and create the BOM for the material. So we'll go ahead and approve this. All right, so now we're at the last step to do the BOM creation. So we'll go ahead and launch this task. And we're back at a supply chain view. So supply chain will see all of the bill of material fields needed. We'll go ahead and add some header text to our BOM. And I'll just quickly review the components. Everything looks good, so we'll go ahead and create the BOM. Again, this is doing creation against SAP in real time. So I've created the BOM. And now when I click continue, this actually ends the process. All right, so let's take a look at the email notifications that occurred throughout the process. So we have an email here for the project manager. This is for them to add some data for the finished good, and then also to determine any raw materials needed. And then the master data team created the shell. And then we had the accounting task, the supply chain task for the finished good and the raw material. And then we had the BOM assignment, so to create the BOM. So basically, once you or a team is assigned a task, you'll get an email notification. And then for that specific task, let's say that the SLA is 1 business day. So every business day that passes, you'll get a reminder email notification. And then this is this final email letting me know that the finished good has been created in this plant, including the extensions, component creations, and BOM creation. So as you saw, our MPI solution will reduce product launch cycle times by 50% or more, and it allows your organization to collect the right data at the right time for the right people. You'll have visibility needed to effectively manage your product launches. Data governance allows the business teams to take true ownership of their data, and a repeatable process allows you to bring new products to market faster. So we would love to speak to you in more detail about your product data processes and how we can help you make an impact to your business. So please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you for your time.